don't blink. That's not just a promotional tagline, that is a warning.
You know you're going to be in for excitement. That's why we called it Don't Blink. Don't blink, because this is good, has excitement and a great fight written all over it.
Because when two men walk into a ring, you both carrying knockout power in either hand, and neither of them has ever been stopped in their career, you are not watching a boxing match. You are watching a war with no safe exits.
19 knockouts so far, it will be 20th, and it will be definitive.
Fabio Wardley, undefeated, 20 wins, 19 by knockout. A man who came from white-collar boxing and knocked his way to a world title. Daniel Dubois, 22 wins, 21 by knockout. A former IBF champion who obliterated Anthony Joshua and then went toe-to-toe with the greatest heavyweight of this generation.
6'4", 6'5", 18 stone wrecking machines. Look how they're built. They're built like Greek gods, carved out of stone. The training, they're young, they're ambitious, dangerous.
Both of them walk forward, both of them carry dynamite in their fists, and both of them believe, completely, that the other man cannot handle what they bring. But what's really happening behind this fight is something nobody is talking about. Manchester Co-op Live, May the 9th, 2026. Two men who turned professional on the exact same day, April 17th, 2017, are finally on a collision course. Nearly a decade in the making, and this is how it ends up. Not as sparring partners, not as teammates, as enemies across a ring with a heavyweight world title between them.
They turned pro on the same day. They got the same length of time in the business. This is quite unusual to happen at this stage of the game.
Fabio Wardley shocked the heavyweight world last October when he defeated Joseph Parker to capture the WBO interim title. His journey went from white-collar boxing to world champion and is the kind of story people write films about. No amateur pedigree, no national team, just pure, relentless, brutal self-belief. Daniel Dubois came from the other direction. Elite amateur background, years of being labeled the future of British boxing, a terrifying run of knockouts. Then Usyk, then silence. Nearly 10 months out of the ring, and now here they are.
I'll fight Daniel Dubois. I mean, most guys after winning the title, they're looking for what you would consider be an easier job. That's what he said.
Frank Warren, the man who made this fight, put it simply. Was it hard to put together? No. I was actually quite shocked how easy it was. That tells you everything. These aren't two fighters who were forced into this. They chose each other, and that choice says more about both men than any prediction ever could. Let's be honest about what we're dealing with here. Fabio Wardley is not supposed to exist at this level. He started boxing late. No amateur career, no national titles. He was sparring Dillian White and Derek Chisora when he was barely a prospect. Not to warm up, but to learn, to catch up, to close the gap between where he was and where he needed to be.
I came into boxing the same way you see me now, was just throwing myself in at the deep end. Jumping in with guys like Derek Chisora, like Dillian White, like Richie Rapport, who have wealth.
And every time the boxing world said he couldn't, he did. Justice Honey knocked out. Fraser Clark knocked out. Joseph Parker controlled and stopped. World title. Analysts still question his level of opposition. They still say he hasn't been in with a real puncher. But here's the thing, that changes Saturday night. And that is exactly why this fight is different from everything Wardley has faced before. Daniel Dubois is not like anyone Wardley has ever shared a ring with. The man knocked out Anthony Joshua, not nicked him on points, not edged him, knocked him out flat. And those who've seen Dubois work in the gym talk about it the same way every time. Electric shock treatment. People don't just go down, they go somewhere else.
We see him when he splattered AJ, absolutely flattened him. He beat him up, then he battered him in their fight. And that just shows the power he carried.
But Dubois carries his own question marks. 3 losses, a broken eye socket in 1, Usyk, a generational talent, in the other 2. And then there is the one moment that nobody can fully explain. That moment against Usyk the second time, when he chose not to get up. His own team would call it a calculated decision. Critics had another word for it. And Fabio Wardley, who would have in that same moment been swinging to the death, noticed. This fight didn't need extra heat, but it got some anyway. At the final press conference, in front of cameras, media, and a packed room, Daniel Dubois heard that Fabio Wardley had been asked what job Dubois might have outside boxing. Wardley's answer? Bin man.
Call him the, what'd you say, dust man? I didn't call you the dust man. Someone asked me what you might have as a job, and I said might be a bin man. There was nothing negative with that.
Now, Wardley insisted it wasn't disrespect. He said he didn't call him the dustman. He said someone asked and he answered. Simple, casual. Nothing behind it, but Dubois didn't see it that way.
You called me the dustman, and I'm gonna collect the trash, boy. I'm gonna collect that trash. I'm gonna collect that trash. Nah, it's disrespect, so I'm gonna put it right in the ring, boy. I'm gonna put it right in the ring.
Cold, direct. No shouting, no theater. Just a man who filed that moment away and planned to handle it inside the ring. And that one comment, throw away to one man, a declaration of war to the other, changed the atmosphere of this entire fight week. By the time fight week arrived, Dubois was walking out of interviews, refusing questions, shutting down press engagements. His team explained it. He's not here for the circus. He's here to fight, but watch the footage carefully, because early in the build-up there was a calm Dubois, a relaxed Dubois, a man who looked settled and confident. Then something shifted, and the man walking out of interview rooms, staring down journalists, refusing to play the media game, that's a different energy entirely. Whether it's focus or something darker underneath, only Saturday night would reveal the answer. Here's the hidden story of this fight, the one that doesn't get enough attention. Both men have publicly questioned whether the other man truly wants it. Wardley's team, specifically his manager Mike, pointed to the interview walkouts, the erratic behavior, the changing trainers, back to Don Charles, then away, then back again, the instability around Dubois' camp. He's not been professional throughout the week. Fabio has been professional.
There's loads of interviews that he's walked out of this week, and I don't class that as being a complete professional athlete.
And Dubois' side fired straight back. His manager Sam Jones called Wardley a white-collar sensation, pointed to the gaps in Wardley's resume, suggested the opposition hadn't tested him the way Dubois' career had. But listen to what Carl Froch said, and Froch doesn't hold back.
I do wonder, when it comes on top for him, Daniel Dubois, what's up there and does he want it? That's the only real question mark I've got over his career.
The only question mark, not his chin, not his technique, not his power, his desire. And that is the question that has followed Daniel Dubois throughout his career, and it will be answered once and for all on Saturday night. Eddie Hearn framed it differently, but reached the same conclusion. Daniel Dubois is the kind of guy who, if he has any doubts in himself, is much easier to beat. If you get past 2 or 3 rounds and start making him second guess himself, you're going to break him down real quick. Wardley's entire strategy survived the early storm. Make Dubois feel like it's not working, plant the seed of doubt, and then watch what happens. Some fans believe this is where the fight will truly be decided, not in round 1, not in the power exchanges, but in the moment, somewhere between round 4 and round 6, when one man starts to wonder whether his best is going to be enough. Now let's look at what the experts are actually saying, because the predictions for this fight are as divided as any heavyweight matchup in recent memory. Tyson Fury, a man who knows both fighters, who shares a gym with Wardley, calls it 50-50. He gives Dubois roughly a 50% chance of reclaiming a world title. That is not a dismissal, that is a compliment wrapped in a warning.
I think Wardley's a good fighter, and I think the Daniel Dubois fight is a very good fight. I think it's a great fight for British boxing. 2 British heavyweights knocking lumps off each other, and these are 2 big punches, and whoever lands first with the best shot will win.
Derek Chisora sides with Wardley, and Chisora's reasoning is something analysts overlook. It's not about skill, it's about heart. Fabio hasn't got boxing skills. What he has is heart, bro. When you fight somebody with heart, it's going to be a long night. Duke McKenzie, who openly admits he's a Dubois fan, says he cannot give you a biased opinion, and then picks Wardley. He says the respect Wardley deserves has been underestimated. He's a world champion now, and world titles change fighters.
This is for the world title. So, like I say, and he's put some respect on his name, because Fabio Wardley's a world champion now in his own right.
But Carl Froch, who has been the loudest voice on this, remains firmly in the Dubois camp. He doesn't just think Dubois wins, he thinks Dubois wins brutally. A fully focused Dubois, Froch argues, is the most dangerous version of this fight for Wardley. And Wardley has never faced anything close to that kind of power. So we have legends on both sides. We have data on both sides. But there is one factor, one hidden detail that changes everything. Let's talk about what actually happens when these two men share a ring. Both fighters walk forward, neither is going to box on the back foot, neither is going to try and outpoint the other on the cards. This is not that kind of fight. The question is not who hits harder. Both men carry elite power. The question is who gets to land it first on the right target. Dubois has the elite jab. Analysts pointed to it. That jab was the difference between him and Anthony Joshua. It's long, sharp, and it sets up everything that comes behind it. If that jab is working, Wardley will be dealing with a ranging weapon that keeps him off his rhythm before the real shots arrive. But Wardley has shown he can take a jab. He's shown he can take shots, and he has shown time and time again that being hurt doesn't stop him. It slows him down. It doesn't switch him off.
And Fabio knows he can drain away that confidence with just one punch. And I just do kind of worry for him when he's in a bit of bother.
Analysts believe the fight splits into two completely different scenarios. If Dubois is sharp in the early rounds and his power translates, Wardley could be in serious trouble before he finds his range. The power Dubois carries is not normal heavyweight power. People don't just wobble when he lands, they look like they've had the lights turned off. But if Wardley survives those opening exchanges, if he eats the shots, keeps moving forward, and forces Dubois into deeper water, that is when the psychological element takes over. That is when Dubois starts to wonder, and that wondering, historically, has cost him. Here is what nobody is saying loudly enough. Fabio Wardley has more to lose in this fight than Daniel Dubois. Think about it. Dubois has already been a world champion. He's already knocked out Joshua. He's already earned generational money. He's already gone undisputed hunting. He's done things that most fighters never get close to. If Dubois loses Saturday night, painful, but he survives. He's still marketable. He's still elite. But Wardley? This is his moment. His real moment. The one where the world has to look at him and say, yes, he belongs here. Yes, he earned this. Yes, he is a true world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, Saturday night I'll be able to kind of have the full bells and whistles with the show, and it won't be and the new, but it will be and still, and it will taste just as sweet.
His manager said it outright. Wardley didn't get to hear "and the new" on the night he won his title. It came via vacancy, via Parker's belt. It was real, but it didn't feel complete. Saturday night is about completion, and there is a growing theory. Not confirmed, not stated by any fighter, but there is a theory that says a fighter fighting for completion, for proof, for legacy, is the most dangerous fighter in any ring. Some analysts believe Wardley enters this fight with a level of hunger that Dubois, comfortable, wealthy, decorated, simply cannot match on this particular night. But here's the final piece of the puzzle, and it might be the most important detail in this entire fight. So who wins? 20 wins, 19 knockouts. A champion who wasn't supposed to be here. Against 22 wins, 21 by knockout. A former champion who's been to hell and back.
Totally in for war. I've been preparing for this. Anything, I'm unstoppable.
The analysts are split, the legends are split, even the fighters themselves, while completely confident, know that one punch changes everything. There are critics who say Dubois is the strongest favorite in this fight. They point to his level of opposition, his technical ability, his explosive finishing power. They say Wardley hasn't seen anything like what Dubois brings, and they might be right, but there are also those who say this is Wardley's time, that momentum matters, that hunger matters, that the man who needs this more will find a way to take it. Don Charles, Dubois' trainer, a man who believes in God and in his fighter, said it simply. What this young man has achieved to date is remarkable. He's about to make another piece of history. And Wardley, with that same quiet certainty he carries everywhere, said, irrespective of pedigree, history, experience, that belief in me is unwavering. It doesn't matter what's going on in that fight. I'll always have 100% confidence I can get my opponent out of there.
A win by any means necessary. That's it.
No doubts.
2 men, 1 ring, a world title, and 0 margin for error. Don't blink.